We need a course on what the census is for, because we have people sitting in Congress and have no idea what the census is for.
Oh no, don't get up and leave, Nancy Mace. Don't get up and leave. No, we talking about you. Welcome to Street Politics. My name is Reese Waters. Shout out to all of our subscribers and members here on the channel. Now, it has been quite a year for Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett.
Someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
This election is the best example of why y'all are so afraid of diversity, equity, and inclusion, because then you can't have a simple-minded, underqualified white man somehow end up ascending. Instead, you've got to pay attention to the qualified black woman that is on the other side. And with that, I will yield. Critical race theory, is that typically taught K through 12, yes or no?
No.
Okay, all right, so we can stop with the nonsense. Talking about the FBI, what you stated.
I did not call the
what
FBI
was stated
agents
right
liars.
before that was, first of all, I said that I'm speaking and I did not ask you a question. That it is white men on this side of the aisle telling us, people of color on this side of the aisle, that y'all are the ones being oppressed. We want to come up with solutions. We don't want to keep pointing the finger. And right now, you've got a bunch of fingers that are pointed at you. But our job is to solve problems for the American people. But inflation still hurts, and so that's why we have a candidate that has an actual plan instead of concepts of a plan. I'm going to make sure I ask you some questions. Let me know if you're having problems answering them, because they really should be yes or no.
In fact, I think I might do some kind of year retrospective, like some kind of knockout highlight reel. But as you know, after her destruction of the entire GOP anti-DEI argument,
you can then misuse words like oppression. There has been no oppression for the white man in this country. You tell me which white men were dragged out of their homes. You tell me which one of them got dragged all the way across an ocean and told that you are going to go and work. We are going to steal your wives. We are going to rape your wives. That didn't happen. That is oppression. We didn't ask to be here.
As well as her clarification of exactly who we need to be discussing in the FEMA debate.
Over 671,000 households impacted by Hurricane Helene have received over $503 million from FEMA's Serious Needs Program. And over 218,000 households impacted by Hurricane Milton have received over $145 million. Yet and still, we had members on this committee. It looks like we had, there were 82 members that opposed the bill to fund when we knew that this was coming, thanks to NOAA. And 19 of the 26 Republicans on this Oversight committee voted against the bill to keep FEMA funded, and 9 are in states that were directly hit. I don't understand why we come in and pretend that we have all these issues with your agency, and I thank you for your service, when you don't want to fund it.
We were looking for like a new bout. We need a new bout just to end the year. Just to end the year spectacular. Is that Clancy Moose? Well, it looked like Nancy Mace just stepped up. Yes, that Nancy Mace.
I'd like to also enter into the record a screenshot of a text message I received from the esteemed professor from Vanderbilt, Michael Eric Dyson, after my CNN interview, begged me for photos. In this text, he says, after calling me racist on CNN, shh, don't tell anybody, we look good together, and sent me a kissy emoji.
Without objection.
Then the guy says I'm gorgeous in all these photos. I don't think he's that bent out of shape on how anyone pronounces Kamala.
Now, Jasmine Crockett and Nancy Mace have got into it before.
I do want them to recognize that white privilege exists, and actually she realized and said that she was one, if not the only Republican that tries to work on issues as relates to minorities. Now, whether or not I agree with that is a whole other issue, but really checking your privilege at the door is what Nancy Mace and the rest of her Republican colleagues need to do.
Which makes it all the more odd that that she would be feeling froggy knowing that Jasmine Crockett is around. But you know what? Do you, Nancy Mace?
That's Miss Mace from South Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Santos, for being here with us today. The U.S. Census Bureau carries out the important constitutional duty of conducting the decennial census as required in Article 1, Section 2 of the Constitution, as you very well know. The census has far-ranging consequences, determining the apportionment of congressional seats, electoral college votes states receive, and the flow of hundreds of billions of dollars in federal funding to states and localities. The Census Bureau's post-enumeration survey for the 2020 census identified serious over and under counting issues, which the Bureau has acknowledged are worse than previous censuses. Even more troubling, the Census Bureau's report acknowledges a statistically significant overcount in liberal Northeast states and a statistically significant undercount in conservative Southern states. The 1790 Census Act, which the left likes to use as an excuse to count illegals and residents and whatever the heck you want to call people in this country who aren't citizens, that women were counted, but they couldn't vote. No, they couldn't vote, but women were citizens of the United States.
Okay, just so we're clear, she is establishing that there is some impropriety in the census and that, in fact, is something that has been helping liberals. That's what she's establishing right now, because she has a deep interest in making sure that everybody feels enfranchised in our government. Stay tuned.
So the left, that's their reasoning for counting illegals in the census and that sort of thing. So I have a series of questions for you, Mr. Santos, that are yes or no. And so I would ask that you use yes or no when I ask these questions. Did the U.S. Census Bureau do anything to identify the immigration or citizenship status of individuals surveyed during the 2020 census, yes or no?
No.
Are illegals counted in the census, yes or no?
Yes, if they're permanent residents, if they reside in the U.S.
Now, here you have an interesting debate about how we count people in this country. Now, here's one thing that I will assert, that when it comes to the ramifications of the population, then a huge surge of illegals would be a bit of a problem. At the same time, when it comes to the allocation of resources, you damn sure better know exactly who's in that state, town, or municipality. Because if you only counting a certain amount of people, you better hope only those people get sick. See what it is, when you put that chili lime seasoning, when you put that chili lime seasoning on your food, that kills everything. That kills all the germs. You could live forever on that chili lime.
Make your moments pop with Tajín.
Sprinkle my Tajín on top.
When you're doing the census with folks and asking the question, you're asking them if you're not asking them if they're a citizen. Do you ask if they're a permanent resident?
We ask folks to list everyone who lives at that residence.
Okay, but you're saying you're only counting illegals if they're a permanent resident.
Well, if they live at that residence. It's the interpretation of the instructions of the person.
So your definition of permanent residence is that they live at a place in the U.S., at a U.S. address.
Yes, I believe I misspoke because there's a legal definition to permanent, to permanent
Okay.
resident.
Oh, the condescension. Oh, the condescension. Oh, the condescension. Like, I want to ask, do they hear themselves? But they definitely hear themselves. That is absolutely by design. That must be what Nancy Mace ran on. Nancy Mace. Condescension for all of the low country. Michael Eric Dyson, this was you? This was you. This how she act on a regular day, and you thought she wasn't going to air you out? What's wrong with you?
It's someone who usually lives at that address.
So I'm going to ask the question again. Are illegal aliens, criminal illegal aliens, the people that break the law coming into our country when they enter in the door illegally?
Ooh, I love that distinction. I love that distinction. I think you're going to have to tell some of the folks that, in fact, voted for your president that, according to you, they are criminal, illegal aliens. Is there a statute of limitations on that? I'm just curious if there's a statute of limitations on that. Oh no, I've been here for years. Yeah, I came here illegally, but we not the same as those people who just came. Nancy Mace just called you criminal illegal aliens. I'm sorry. And you in a mixed family, so, just find that Samsonite.
Are they counted in the U.S. Census, yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Are there political implications for congressional apportionment and the Electoral College when we're counting non-citizens, when we're counting illegals, criminal illegal aliens in the census, yes or no?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part of the question.
Are there political implications for congressional apportionment and the Electoral College when you are counting criminal illegal aliens in the U.S. Census?
I do not know.
Oh, you absolutely know. Because apportionment is based on what? Is it based on what? Population?
Yes.
Population based on counts in the what? U.S. Census?
Correct.
All right. You're the director of the U.S. Census Bureau, correct?
Correct.
Why is this so difficult for you to answer honestly?
Hold that thought. She asked, why is it so difficult for you to answer honestly? I would say, why is it so difficult for you to behave honestly? But we'll get to that. No, chill out, Jasmine. No, chill out, Jasmine. No, we gonna bring you in. We gonna bring you in. Don't worry.
Well, no, it is what it is. So if there's more population, then you get.
You just said you didn't know if there were political implications for congressional apportionment and the Electoral College when you're counting illegals.
In all honesty, I am not a politician. I'm a scientist, and so we do our counts according to the Constitution.
Okay, Mr. Science.
So we're not calling people by their name now? Is that what we're doing?
Pronounce her name right.
Kamala Harris. If
Kamala. You said this. We don't call you Nancy Mace. It's Kamala. You're doing this on purpose, Congresswoman.
That's
disrespectful.
I went with Clancy Moose for months after that. I just got back to calling you Nancy Mace. And here you want to call the man out his name. What's wrong with you, Nancy Mace? Who hurt you, Clancy Moose?
Mr. Science.
Sure. Yes, ma'am.
When you're doing apportionment, when you're doing congressional seats based on population that includes illegal aliens, does that have a political impact in campaigns when you're drawing those lines and having people vote in those elections?
They are counted in apportionment, yes.
Okay. You're not being honest this morning, and I think it's a slap in the face to the American people.
Well, the American people got a slap in the face, all right. No, we gonna see. No, just wait. No, sometimes you got to give people enough rope. Sometimes you just got to give people enough rope.
If apportionment of congressional seats is based on the census and roughly 750,000 people per congressional seat in this country, would that unfairly impact how congressional seats are drawn, yes or no?
I'm sorry, you're speaking too fast for me. Can you slow down a little bit?
No, I can't. The answer is yes. In California, in Valadeo's district, where 750,000 people live in that district, 167,000 people voted in that election. I would imagine, and number one, Gavin Newsom's probably still counting because the guy can't do math 4 weeks into post an election.
Want to talk about somebody can't do math? You want to keep that energy? Because I wasn't going to say that. You know what I mean? I got family in the Palmetto, so I wasn't going to say nothing, but you ain't going to go there with it. Nah.
But 167,000 people out of 750,000 population. In my district, 390,000 people voted. We don't have the number of illegals that California has statistically. Scientifically, Mr. Science, that's just the math.
I love the smile. That's how you handle people like that. That's how you handle people like that. I love the smile. Now, that's how you handle them if, in fact, you don't have the energy, time, or inclination to bust them upside their head with the truth. But Jasmine do.
Interesting that we're having this hearing, and I know one thing that I have learned so far is that while freshman orientation just ended, we need a course on what the census is for, because we have people sitting in Congress and have no idea what the census is for. And so I do appreciate that you have talked about what the funding is for.
Oh no, don't get up and leave, Nancy Mace. Don't get up and leave. No, we talking about you. Yeah. As a matter of fact, she might reference you by name. I don't know if she gonna actually say the name that's on the front of your shirt, because we can pretty much call you anything at this point. This might be the first acceptable use of boo-boo the fool.
But it seems like my colleagues really want to zero in on southern states. So let's talk about Texas for a second. And let's deal with them and their concerns about their districts. And let's also talk about the citizen situation. So I don't know how much you've paid attention to the election, but we do have an incoming administration, and we have a border czar who has said that they are going to deport everyone that is here and is not a citizen. They are planning to do mass deportations. In fact, in the state of Texas, our commissioner has offered up land so that they can put these camps there and send people out of our country.
Oh no, it goes deeper than that. Yeah, they said they actually want to pack up citizens if they're a member of mixed families. Oh yeah.
Now, if you start asking people, are you a citizen or not, and they're living in a home and somebody's threatening to go in and raid homes and take everybody out and send them back to wherever they came from, I mean, I would imagine that may make people say, never mind, I'm not going to fill this out. But I mean, has that been your finding or no?
Well, to be fair, that assumes that they are willing to engage in intimidation and misdirection tactics.
The League of United Latin American Citizens, or LULAC, is accusing the state's Republican Attorney General of voter intimidation after authorities raided the homes of its volunteers over allegations of voter fraud.
And that's in Texas.
We have conducted research that shows that there can be selective inclusion of individuals who reside in a residence because of...
Exactly, because you've got the federal government that is asking this question, and it's the same federal government that is threatening to go and yank people out of their schools, their homes, and things like that. And then we just had a conversation where we were talking about how many voters. Listen, when you're counting people, you're not just counting voters. You count children, don't you?
Correct.
I would also, at this point, like to highlight the GOP logic that immigrants are jumping up to be counted in the census when authorities come to their homes, and also going out while they're in a country that they came into illegally and can't wait to commit crimes. I'm just here to steal cars and get on that census, baby. That's it. That's all I'm here to do.
You count a lot of people that aren't necessarily voters, and I want to make sure that we really get to the nitty-gritty on Texas, because this is hilarious to me. Texas added 2 seats. In 2020, according to the census, and we know that there was a significant undercount, specifically in Texas for a combination of reasons, but we know that specifically Texas added 4 million people. Of those 4 million people, do you want to take a guess at how many were Anglos? Just a guess.
I'd say a majority.
4 million people. Let me guess. Carry the one. Be a lot of Chipotle's down there. Okay. Bob Evans down there? Okay. Y'all got Hobby Lobby too, right? 180,000.
180,000. That's it, of 4 million. 95% of the people that were added, and we know that when it comes to minority populations, they tend to be undercounted.
Would anybody like to dispute that? Would anybody like to dispute when it comes to minority populations, they are undercounted? I was taught as a young person, always close your eyes when we're doing a prayer before the meal. Never leave church early. Always say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. Don't answer the door. That's just what I was taught. That is what I was taught. Even now, as an adult, when somebody rings the doorbell, I throw that head around that corner. And if you ain't carrying a box with an arrow on it, you caught me at a bad time. I'm sorry.
So get this. We added 4 million people. They were people of color. Texas got 2 new seats. So they took those black and brown and Asian bodies. And guess what? Do you think that we got a new black, brown, or Asian seat? Somehow, the way that they do their Republican math in the state of Texas, that amounted to 2 new white seats. Guess what? White Republican seats. We got 2 new Republican seats.
Wait a minute, excuse me, Jasmine. Yeah, well, see, because Nancy Mace told me that they was flooding in to help the Dem. No, she lied. Well, that is just a slap in the face to the American people, is what that is. Because you weren't being honest today, Clancy Moose. I don't know why this was so hard for you. I definitely can't call you Miss Science. Ain't nothing scientific about what you did. And we know you ain't Miss Math. I would maybe call her Miss Arts and Crafts because of those nice little displays she set up to air out Michael Eric Dyson.
Out of 4 million people of color. So let me tell you, they love to use our bodies to apportion us in an inaccurate way.
One more time!
They love to use our bodies to apportion us in an inaccurate way.
I have yet to do a deep dive on rampant gerrymandering, which quite frankly is infuriating from the people that call themselves patriots who claim to love our democracy. Gerrymandering, yeah, that needs to be done. Yeah, stay tuned for that in the new year, especially the members. You're gonna get that one soon.
So when we talk about our districts, I also want to talk about something that Texas is taking advantage of that I've worked on a lot. In fact, I did legislation on. It is called prison gerrymandering. I don't know if you are familiar with it.
I'm familiar.
But here is the reality. The numbers show that in rural Texas, they were constantly bleeding population. Urban Texas was growing exponentially. But what they do is they count inmates where they are imprisoned instead of counting them where it is that they will return to. So their family members that are in Dallas, Texas, or Houston, or wherever, their family members, when they need something, they call us, even if it's relating to that inmate. But somehow rural Texas is getting better roads than they probably deserve because they're counting those inmates that are not driving on those roads. They're counting those inmates that are not using their hospitals. They're counting those inmates whose children are not attending their schools because of prison gerrymandering. So again, Republicans are really good about using black and brown bodies, because I can also tell you that the numbers are clear that we have a black and brown incarceration issue, not just in Texas, but in this country. And in fact, the state of Texas incarcerates more people than any other independent democratic country. That is how bad our incarceration is just in the state of Texas. And I've got so many great colleagues on this committee that actually benefit from being able to do things like that. So listen, this is about resources. It's about putting the resources where the people are.
So you mean to tell me that they get to over-police our communities, ship us off into the rural Netherlands of this country, and then use the prison as census population in order to get more resources from our federal government? Not even Gargamel or Thanos will come up with a plan that nasty. That is nasty work. But quite frankly, I'm at a point where I am unshockable. I am unshockable at this point in 2024 at what the GOP is capable of. I mean, after that anti-DEI debate, you could they have definitely reached the Tyson zone. I believe absolutely anything now. I have no idea how they're going to depict this era of time in history. I mean, really, because it's just going to look silly. They're going to have to be comedies.
And I am curious to know, for whoever goes next, do you ask your constituents when they call your office, are you a citizen or not? Because at the end of the day, I have to handle immigration cases as well in my office. We are elected to represent the people regardless of their citizenship, and we have to help them because they reside in our districts.
Now, that was a furious finish, not only to her testimony, but to her year and to that devastation of Nancy Mace. She was right to get up and leave, actually. I wanted her to stay there and eat her food, but she was right to get up and leave, because I don't know that she really would have been able to to function. Had she been privy to all of that, but certainly that is information that she has available to her, that she has chosen to ignore while she sat up there and made those bad faith arguments in order to get her video for the internet, which no doubt she pushed out because we know how much she loves attention. Huh? Oh, Jasmine Crockett brought back up? Is that Summer Lee?
It's staggering, isn't it? A single form filled out by millions shaped 353 programs to provide $2.8 trillion in federal funding for communities across America. And that was in 2021 alone. I'd actually like to thank my Republican colleagues for bringing up undercounts, because here is the ugly truth. In 2022, the New York Times reported that in the 2020 census, undercounted the number of Hispanic, Black, and Native American residents, even though the overall population counts were largely accurate. These are the same groups that have been historically undercounted. These are people, families, communities, the very folks most dependent on the funding census data helps allocate. And many of those funding programs are looking at more than general population numbers. They're looking at demographics, income levels, age, and education levels, data that can't be figured out with just estimates. The George Washington Institute of Public Policy estimates the value of each completed census form at more than $4,000 a person. That's the value of a single census form. Multiply that by thousands or millions, and we're talking about a catastrophic loss for the people who have already had the deck stacked against them.
Stop! He's already dead.
Oh boy. Oh boy. I didn't see nothing. Nah. I didn't see nothing. Don't ask me nothing. That was savage. What that was woo-hoo, boy. Hey, future's bright. Future, not January, just the future in general. It's bright. January gonna be quite dark, I'll be honest with you. I'm taking suggestions where I should go. Vacation. Yeah, that whole week.